Right now, somewhere, it is raining, and if you are inside, you probably will not even notice, unless you happen to look out a window or hear the rain against the glass. Rain, for you, is mostly an inconvenience. It changes your route. It delays your plans. Maybe it gives you an excuse to stay inside, but it does not threaten you. It does not reorganize your entire day around survival. It is weather. And weather, for most of modern life, is simply something you wait out. This was not always true. For nearly all of human history, rain was not background noise. It was an event. And how your ancestors responded to it reveals something surprising about where some of your most automatic emotional reactions may have come from. Let us start with the obvious problem. Rain, for early humans, was not just wet. It could erase your entire day. A sudden downpour could mean a fire going out. And fire was not a convenience. It was protection from predators, a source of warmth in cold climates, and very likely a tool for cooking food that made nutrients more accessible. Losing it, even temporarily, was a real setback. Rain could also turn solid ground into mud, making travel slower, more exhausting. It could trigger flash flooding in certain landscapes. It could mean hours, or sometimes days, without the ability to track animals, gather food efficiently, or see approaching threats clearly through the haze. When the sky darkened, people paid attention. Archaeologist and paleoclimatologist Curtis Moran, who has spent years studying early human adaptation to environmental change along the southern coast of Africa, has argued that the ability to anticipate and respond effectively to changes in weather and seasonal patterns may have played an important role in the survival and resilience of early human populations, which raises the obvious question: what did people actually do once the rain started? The first answer is simple. They found shelter. Caves and rock shelters appear to have been important refuges. Sites such as Zibudu Cave in South Africa show long-term, repeated use by early humans with evidence of bedding material, hearths, and tool production. Their consistent use over tens of thousands of years suggests that having a reliable, defensible place to retreat to, including during storms, was valuable. But shelter alone does not answer the more interesting question. A storm could last for hours, sometimes longer, and shelter solves the problem of staying dry. It does not solve the problem of what an entire group of restless, capable humans actually does once their normal work has been taken away from them. So, what happened during those hours? This is where the picture becomes genuinely revealing. A sudden rainstorm interrupting outdoor activity would have created an unusual situation. A group of people suddenly confined to a smaller shared space with limited ability to do their normal tasks. Researcher Polly Wiesner, who has spent decades studying the social lives of the Juhwansi San in the Kalahari, found that storytelling, joking, and gossip make up the overwhelming majority of conversation during downtime, while her specific research focused on nighttime conversation around fires rather than rainy day shelter. Specifically, her broader finding is remarkably suggestive. Unstructured time spent in close proximity to other group members appears to function as an important site for social bonding, conflict resolution, and the transmission of cultural knowledge. Rain-enforced stillness would plausibly have created exactly these same conditions. But that still leaves one more key question, the strangest one of all. Why, thousands of years later, with none of that danger left, does the sound of rain still make so many people feel unusually, almost disproportionately calm? Psychologist Mark Berman at the University of Chicago has researched what is sometimes called attention restoration theory, building on earlier work by Rachel and Stephen Kaplan. Their research suggests that certain environmental conditions, including exposure to natural ambient sounds, may help restore depleted attention and reduce stress. Some studies, specifically examining rain sounds, have found that many people report rain as calming or conducive to relaxation and sleep, although the underlying mechanisms are still being investigated and individual responses vary. It is tempting to wonder whether part of this response reflects something old, a body that associates the sound of rain with shelter, stillness, and the kind of forced pause that, throughout much of human history, may have meant rest, closeness, and temporary safety, rather than active labor. Of course, this connection should be held with some caution. Human psychological responses are shaped by an enormous range of factors, including individual experience, culture, and the modern associations we form throughout our own lives. Not only by deep evolutionary history, the calming effect of rain may be influenced as much by personal memory and cultural conditioning as by anything inherited from the deep past. Still, the broader picture that emerges from the available evidence is a coherent one. Rain was not simply an obstacle for early humans. It was a recurring, unavoidable interruption, one that forced groups into closer contact, into shared shelter, and very likely into exactly the kind of unstructured social time that appears across many studies of hunter-gatherer life to play an important role in maintaining group cohesion. Today, when rain falls and you find yourself unexpectedly pausing, watching it through a window, listening to it against the roof, feeling a small and unearned sense of permission to slow down. You may be experiencing something that connects, however loosely, to a much older brain pattern, not a memory exactly, not something you could prove happened to you specifically, but perhaps an echo of a time when the sky itself occasionally gave a group of tired, busy humans the same simple instruction: stop, stay close, wait it out together.